Hi, Gretchen Boules back here, and I am going to be presenting a piece I played about 3 years ago at my church. It was recorded in 2022, Bach's Prelude in F minor. It is his 12th prelude of his Preludes and Fugues in the second book of his Well-Tempered Clavier. And this book he wrote in order to help his students master all 24 of the major and minor keys on the piano. There are 48 in total, Prelude and Fugues. Today I am just playing the Prelude in F minor. And this piece is 70 bars long. It's written in binary form, and the first half of it ends in A flat major, and then he modulates through a variety of keys before he returns to F minor. And that, when he modulates at the end, it's really a beautiful sound, and this is one of my favorite preludes. So a little bit about Bach. So when you hear the word Bach, you think immediately the father of Baroque. And the person that wrote this was Johann Sebastian Bach, and he's the one that usually comes to mind. Definitely was regarded as one of the defining composers of the Baroque era. And but it wasn't always that way. Apparently Bach's fame was not always secure, and apparently if it wasn't for a few passionate admirers and a timely revival, his genius might have faded into obscurity. But thankfully, visionaries like Mozart, Beethoven, and Mendelssohn recognized Bach's brilliance. And it was actually Felix Mendelssohn in 1829, which was nearly 80 years after Bach's death, resurrected the Passion according to Matthew with his historic performance in Berlin. And then was this sort of global interest in Bach at that point. So some fun facts again about Bach. Bach was born in March 31st of 1685 in Thuringia, Germany. Music ran deep in his blood. His father, Johann Ambrosius Bach, was a 17th century generation musician, and he taught Johann the violin. But tragedy struck early for Bach. When he was 10 years old, he was orphaned and moved in with his older brother, Johann Christoph, who actually introduced him to the organ. And he was awarded a choral scholarship in 1700 because he had a beautiful singing voice. He landed his first job when he was 18 years old as an organist, and provided music services and teaching local students. Married his first cousin, Maria Barbara Bach. They ended up having 7 children, and 2 of his sons ended up being prominent composers. In 1708, he began working as a court organist, and that was at the point when he composed the iconic Toccata and Fugue in D minor. He was very, he impressed royalty quite a bit, and the Prince of Sweden was so impressed with him, he gifted him a diamond ring. Another interesting fact was Bach was jailed for several weeks in 1716 after abruptly resigning from his post working with Prince Leopold. But after the release, Bach actually became a conductor in Prince Leopold's court. He almost met Handel in 1719. He attempted to meet him, but despite being just 130 kilometers apart, it never happened, and not sure why. Tragedy struck again in 1720 when Maria Barbara died suddenly while Bach was away. Years later, he married again and had 13 more children. So this man was prolific, not only in creating music but having babies. His most sacred choral works were written in Leipzig, and it was including the St. Matthew Passion. The Well-Tempered Clavier and this one prelude that I will be playing from that, again, was his. It was a set of instructional pieces to help his students with mastering the keyboard. He met Frederick the Great in Prussia in 1747, and his very last work was The Art of Fugue, which he did not complete due to his health issues, and then he died in July of 1720 after a failed eye surgery, and then he ended up dying of a stroke, and he was age 65. So a wonderful quote, and I think this really is very befitting. Johannes Brahms wrote about Bach, "Study Bach, there you will find everything." And I believe that is true. And I think sometimes younger pianists maybe don't recognize the beauty of Bach, but as I've gotten older, I've really enjoyed playing him more. So I hope you enjoy this piece. Thank you.